Hi there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm sure most of you are aware that Waterloo Road is getting a new head teacher next series. Stephen Savage, played by the excellent comedian Jason Manford. As excited as I am for the new series, it got me thinking about the previous head teachers. The head teacher is arguably the most important character and protagonist, so I decided to rank them. Before I get on with this, I would like to say that I don't dislike any head teacher, they all have their merit. For the sake of this video, I'm only including long-running head teachers. I'm not counting acting heads or stand-ins like Simon Losley. Alright, let's rank them. Vaughan Fitzgerald. Okay, Vaughan is introduced back in Series 10, the final run of episodes in the original series. When the series first aired, I really rated Vaughan as a head teacher. His main struggles were trying to balance the failing school with difficulties in his home life. More times than not questioning himself as a father and what to do with his son Justin, while unintentionally neglecting his other son Leo. At the time, it felt like the biggest shake-up to the Scottish series cast by also introducing his new partner Ali and her children, while the second half of the series gave more of a spotlight to his ex-wife Olga. I don't think there was anything inherently wrong with Vaughan. I felt like his kids overshadowed him at times. I think a part of his position in this ranking is due to his limited episodes. We only have him for 20. If he was given more time, then he would definitely be higher in my opinion. Karen Fisher. Okay, I think this position will be the most divisive of this whole list, but I do have my reasons. Okay, so first of all, I think she had a tremendous task of following up Rachel, both in universe and out. I think the clear difference in her character and how she tackled things was good. The strike system was a tougher way of dealing with troublemakers, and her strong morals shone. More so than any other head teacher, I think she had the strongest introduction story. The whole Beck's missing arc was implemented so well, and witnessing this grieving mother's struggle was good. I think having a head teacher like Karen was a refreshing change to the series and really aided the storytelling. I just found her a bit bland at times. I think the final arc of her questioning her ability to manage the school was intriguing, and her dynamic with Robson Green was great. For Karen, I think my biggest issue is a lack of personality beyond the opening arc. I think she suffered as time went on. I just didn't really feel like the writers knew what to do with her by the final arc. She's just a bit forgetful in my opinion. Christine Mulgrew. So, given her position on this list, this statement may sound a bit weird, but I wasn't a fan of her character at first. I know the audience probably wasn't supposed to, given her drinking problem and abuse towards Connor. I just felt like she grew the most as a character, more so than anyone on this list. I know she was present for 70 episodes, so that will have helped, but I really felt her growth. When they revealed she was going to be the head teacher, I was very on board with it. I think her strong leadership skills were always at the forefront, and despite difficult odds, she did what she could. For her, the biggest hurdles were things like a deputy head who was trying to gain her job and higher-ups who weren't overly happy with her position as head. She even had the sad passing of two very iconic characters during her tenure and still did a great job carrying the show. Much like Vaughan, I wish we had more time with this version of the character. I wish the writers hadn't pushed her to drink again. I get it was her biggest demon, but it just felt like they were hitting the reset button to me. Kim Campbell. Right, if you had told me in the original run that Kim was going to be a head teacher, then I really don't know how I would have felt about it. I wasn't the biggest fan of her as a character in the original series, but I really love everything they're doing with her in the reboot. Kim feels like the perfect teacher to act as a bridge between these two series and really surprised me as a head teacher. Her strong morals and point of view are still present, but she feels like a more rounded character in this position. I think the bond she has formed with kids like Kelly Jo are really good and make her comparable to the likes of Michael or Rachel. I think Kim's budding relationship with the Charles family is a good way of modernising the original run. And having her come face to face with tougher plot points like abuse and a stabbing cements her as a strong character. I'm a bit sad she isn't continuing now. Jack Rimmer. Okay, so Jack was the ultimate OG head teacher of the show. After his predecessor had a breakdown on the roof of the school, Jack is thrust into this new role of head teacher. Despite seeming to struggle at first, I think we really see a character come into his own across his two series and a bit a stint of head of Waterloo Road. Some of the larger difficulties Jack faces with students like Dante Charles rioting in the school and crashing a car. or things like dealing with Lewis Seddon trying to kill him in a fire. Unlike other heads so far, Jack is a much grittier and hands-on head, I would argue second most so to the likes of Michael Byrne. During his tenure, he faced some darker plots like Izzy being stabbed in the car park, which led to a feud with Tom Clarkson during his final stint of episodes. I always found that Jack had a sort of charm to him, and that he was the right head to knock Waterloo Road into shape during its most difficult point with troubled children. As great as Rachel is, I do sometimes wish there was one more season with Jack Rimmer. Michael Byrne. The Superhead, as he was known at the beginning of his stint, is brought in to deal with Waterloo Road after Karen Fisher was unable to resolve its problems. Right from the beginning of his run, Michael is established as a fair and approachable head, who puts the academics of the kids first. He was a man who wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, especially as he was recovering from a stab wound where he tried to help a student during his first series. Michael was the final head teacher in Manchester before he moved himself and his staff along to Scotland for the last run of episodes in the original series. We see a complexity to his character via his rough upbringing with his dad, and how across the run he tries to make various romantic relationships work. In terms of role as head teacher, I think Michael is the best at his job and gets the most solid results overall. He works with the kids and has their best interests at heart. If I was basing this list on ability to run a school, then he would be number one. The last arc in Rochdale with the gang warfare and the closure of the school is my favourite of the whole show. It very easily could have been the end, and I think Michael would have been the perfect one to end it on. Rachel Mason. Alright, so I think I'm in the majority when I say Rachel is the best head teacher character from the show. She has a warm and welcoming presence on screen who goes well and beyond the line of duty to help any student, much to her own personal risk at times. After Jack decides he can no longer help the school, Rachel Mason is brought in and immediately makes an impact on the students' lives, especially the likes of Bolt and Smiley, who she quickly forms a mutual bond with. Rachel, like many others, has a dark history of sex work in order to earn some money, before earning her qualifications and becoming a popular head teacher. During her time at the school, Rachel dealt with a large fire that brought the school to its knees and attempted to pilot the merging of two schools. She always stood her ground, even when dealing with the brutish head Max Tyler, who physically abused her own nephew. In the end, Rachel walks away happy with a new husband. I really hope Rachel returns in the reboot. I like to think she became a social worker in the end, which seems like the perfect avenue for her return. Well, that's just my thoughts. Where would you rank these head teachers? Please let me know in comments down below. If you enjoyed what you saw then, could you please hit that like button and subscribe? It will really help my channel continue to grow. Stay updated with the show as Stephen Savage will arrive soon. See you in another one.